North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
A vital element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction.
He has been very threatening, beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
우리의 핵과 탄도 로켓을 십상 타격하지 않을 것이며 우리가 선택한 핵무력 강화에 대해서 단 한치의 양보도 없다는 것을 설명했습니다.
I'll start with Comrade Kim from the embassy of the DPRK to say a few words on this occasion. Comrade Kim.
So, comrades and ladies and gentlemen, so first of all, I'd like to convey our warm greetings to all of you on behalf of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So actually, 2 days ago, we had celebrated 61st anniversary of the victory of the fatherland of the Korean War, 27th of July. So in this seat, I'd like to make a speech for our Korean people. So on July 27th is very significant Korean nation day. So because this day is our victory of the fatherland of the Korean War, defeated the US imperialists. On July 27th, 1953, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea emerged victorious in the Korean War. When the US unleashed the Korean War, few believed that it would end with the defeat of the US, which was victor in the Second World War and had emerged as the leader of the imperialist forces. And no one believed that 2-year-old DPRK would win the war. It was by no means accidental that the US predicted at the time of unleashing the war that it would win the war within 72 hours. But they miscalculated. As it said, the longer the war lasted, the deeper it found itself of a dilemma. Though it kicked the door open, it could neither go into the room nor go out of it. When it became aware of the DPRK, the Korean people and the Korean People's Army, it was too late. It had to pay dearly for the crime of unleashing the war. It hauled into the war over 2 million strong forces, including 1/3 of its ground force, 1/5 of its air force, most of its Pacific fleet, some of its Mediterranean fleet, as well as the troops of 15 vassal states, South Korean Army, and even the remnants of the former Japanese Army. But it sustained a loss nearly 2.3 times greater than what it had suffered in the 4-year war in the Pacific. US sustained a loss 2 times more than what it had suffered in 5 great wars: Independence War, War in 1812, Mexican War, US-Spanish War, and War in Philippines. driven into tighter corner by the might of the unity of the Korean army, and people rallied behind their leader as one, the might of all people residents, the U.S. couldn't but sign an armistice agreement, no better than a surrender document. July 27th was recorded as the victory day for the DPRK, when the country, though small, defeated the US-led multinational forces under the signboard of the UN forces, thus creating world's startling legendary tale and shattering the myth of the mightiness of the US, which had been boasting that it had never been defeated in over 100 wars. The United States, instead of drawing a lesson from its miserable defeat in the Korean War, continued to station its troops in South Korea and resorted to ceaseless military provocation against the DPRK with the ambition force occupying the whole of Korea. Typical example were the incident of Puebla, the US armed spy ship, and the incident of EC-121, US large espionage plane in the 1960s, respectively, and the Korean Peninsula nuclear crisis, and started in the 1990s. However, all these incidents ended with a defeat for US and victory for the DPRK. For example, during the incident of the US armed spy ship Puebla, the US signed a document in which it acknowledged the hostile acts of espionage committed by the Puebla in the territorial waters of the DPRK, made a solemn apology for it, and assured that no US ship would intrude into the DPRK's territorial waters in the future. The then President Johnson lamented that it was the first ever letter of apology in the US history. The US conducted a joint military exercise with the South Korean army every year, bringing the situation on the Korean Peninsula to the brink of war. It mobilized over 300,000 troops and various strategic nuclear assets in the key reserve and 4 illegal nuclear war games conducted this year. It also held special operation troops 3 times more than last year and dispatched Carl Vinson-led carrier strike group to the waters of the Korean Peninsula by charting its course.
We are sending an armada, very powerful.
It even spread a rumor about war in April. True to the line of promoting economic construction and building up its nuclear forces simultaneously, the DPRK ushered in a golden age of strengthening its military capabilities, putting an end to the US threat of aggression and nuclear blackmail. The epoch-marking event that demonstrated its nuclear attack capabilities, frustrated the enemy's provocative moves at every step. Recently, the Western newspaper wrote in the article titled, "North Korea Wins Confrontation with the Trump Administration." The confrontation, which continued only this year, ended with North Korea's victory. Trump shot his own foot. If the US provokes North Korea again, it would also end with Korea's victory. The victory day, July 27th, of the Korean people will be eternal. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Comrade Kim, for that wonderful message on this important occasion and at this very important meeting. We are very grateful to you that you could come and do that. I recently heard that the Americans are saying that the Venezuelans must not elect the Constituent Assembly because it will then mean the end of democracy, and it will mean that Venezuela will establish a kind of dictatorship of the type that you have in Cuba. Well, we like the dictatorship in Cuba. It's a dictatorship of the oppressed and the exploited against a handful of exploiters. And if the Venezuelans come up to that level and establish it, it would be even better for the people of Venezuela, the people of Latin America, and in fact for the whole of progressive humanity. And I now have the pleasure to say that tomorrow the Venezuelan people elect a Constituent Assembly. I wish a successful outcome in these elections, and after that they can get on with the job of defeating imperialist schemes of intervention directly or through their proxies, the caprices of this world, who are hard guns, who are happy to do that. They constantly say that 100 people have been killed in the last few months. Yes, they have been killed. You ask them who killed and how many came from each side. My information is 20 of the people killed were security personnel. Now, the security personnel don't go and kill themselves. Somebody must have killed them. That means the opposition is involved in armed provocations. And the government in Venezuela has acted with commendable restraint. I saw an interview last night with President Nicolas Maduro on RT, and he was asked the question, do you ever indulge in self-criticism? He said, yes. What's the biggest mistake you have made? He said his biggest mistake was underestimating the opposition and thinking they were democratic, and we dealt with them very kindly and with kids' glove. And we really must take a lesson, and we must behave with them as they wish us to behave, and as anybody would expect us to behave towards them, i.e. with an iron fist, because that's the only language that they actually understand. So with these comrades, and with these words, I would like to invite the Venezuelan comrade Marcos Garcia from the Venezuelan embassy. If you can.